Well, I know we just got off air, but I wanted to come back on here real quick because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning now in effect for folks in DeSoto, Tate, and Marshall County. I'm trying to clear all this off here real quick. Let me get that off screen. There we go. So this is the severe thunderstorm warning that's now in effect. And as you can see, county is DeSoto, but we can include Marshall and Tate as well. And this is in place until 7:15 this evening. Now, what we can expect with this is similar to what we have been seeing over the past few times that we've been talking about this storm. Again, a large hail core. And you might notice that this is not down there towards the Mariana area. This is building more towards the north, which we said some back building can take place. So looking at those latest scans, and we'll get a first track on this. So let me go ahead and go back over the last 30 minutes or so. We can see that it has built more towards the northwest, way more so than what it originally was at first. And if we track that out, we're still talking about 10 miles an hour or so on that leading edge. But the thing is with this track is I'm going to take it a little bit more towards the northwest. So let me go ahead and because it's just building a little bit more towards there. So this is going to be talking about Stonewall closer to about 646, 650 there towards Watson, Orion by about 652, Ingram's Mill 659, 713 Wall Hill, 714 Lewisburg, Wakefield 725, Rock Hill 727, Bett by about 735, and Cochran by about 738. Now that's with the back building part of this. That's really for this part of the storm right here towards Byhalia, Warsaw, and Victoria. So as we take a look at the general track on this, though, we're still talking about southwest building. So folks down there towards Tullahoma, Wyatt, Rock Hill, still going to be getting this thunderstorm as we head further into the evening, just maybe not the severe part of it. So as I track out that whole storm, again, carrying it about, we'll take it 11 miles an hour. You know what? We need to go more southwest on this. Let me drag this out one more time. There we go. One day technology will work. There we go. Down there towards Tullahoma, again, we're talking about 11 miles an hour right there. Stonewall 649, Orion 652, like we mentioned. Wyatt 710, down there towards the Aiken area 724, and Barr by 737. So this is still about a slow mover, about 5 to 10 miles an hour. And let's take a look at a cross section on this because 3D involvement has definitely helped us assess some of the worst of these storms. So if we go right here on the cross section, and I will have to take it to where you guys can see it a little bit better. So bear with me one moment. Gotta click off of that. Okay, so if we take this, you can definitely see that hail core getting up to about 30,000 feet. So being that 20 to 25,000 was around nickel-sized hail, we're definitely above nickel-sized hail. We're talking a little bit larger than that. And that's exactly why the National Weather Service has issued a severe thunderstorm warning on this. Again, Storm Watcher reports, our Weather Watcher reports, they help assess how to go about this. And even a little bit on that hail core, I'm gonna have to draw one more cross section here real quick to assess the southern part of this more significant area. So this is back there towards the Watson area. The one that we're tracking there on the leading edge is close to Ingram's Mill. But if we track this back, you can see how some of that purple, not nearly as high, but definitely could be producing some smaller hail. That's going to be getting to about 10,000 feet or so. So if we expand this out and go back to our home view, let me do that here real quick. Go back to North Mississippi and we'll zoom back in. That is the primary area that we're watching there towards Byhalia. Now let's go back and do a cross section. I shouldn't have gotten out of the cross section just yet because what we're going to do here real quick is take a cross section and then compare it. And what I mean by compare it is I compare it to the last couple of scans. So I'm going to move it back just a bit. And we see that it's getting just under 30,000 feet. And if we keep this going back, you can see how this has continued to increase. Right there was where the warning got issued. You can definitely see the storm tops. That is a decent storm right there. My word, reaching as high as 30,000 feet. And that has just continued to build more and more, pretty much remained about the same as we entered that latest scan. So hopefully that means that this is about to enter a collapsing phase. It might have peaked already and might be starting to dissipate again, that cyclical pattern that we're watching. And that was definitely the most impressive scan right there whenever the warning did get issued. And then as this pushed into more of that Byhalia area, they're still about 30,000 feet, maybe a little bit under. And let's go into that latest scan and see where we're sitting at. Still right around that same level. So expecting some small hail to develop if it hasn't already fallen, as that continues to build up and some of that lift takes those hailstones higher up into the atmosphere. So let's get back on the home view here real quick and we can do one more track on this because I don't want to stay fixated on this for too long. Again, I just wanted to provide you guys an update on what we're seeing and one of the best ways that help with warnings that you guys can do if it's done in a safe manner, is let us know your storm reports. If you're inside the house and you can kind of see those hailstones falling and get a general idea of the size, let us know those reports. And of course, you can email us info@MSLiveWeather. You can send us weather watcher photos, even if it's a video. You can send it to my Facebook or anything like that, meteorologist Gabe Maynor, and we will get those reports forwarded to the National Weather Service so they can know exactly what's happening on the ground, because we can see what's happening on radar, but on the ground is a little bit more important. Byhalia, again, moving on the southwest side of I-22 as of this point. The hail core basically right over the top of Warsaw. And I would say since we're about to be on that latest scan, we're about 2 minutes away from it. We're probably over the top of Ingram's Mill right now. So if you live in any of those areas that we have mentioned and you have gotten some of those hailstones, please let us know if you have, and of course with those reports as well. So I believe we do have a camera over there in the Oxford area, and this is what I will do. Last thing, let me see if that's looking the right way too. So this is out of Oxford. It looks like it's the right way for sure. I know North Mississippi Storm Chasers have been doing a lot of work behind the scenes to make sure we have the right view on that. That looks like the storm. That's going to be your heaviest outputs over there towards Marshall County, moving into Tate and DeSoto County. So that's the area that we are watching, and you're still getting some of those rigid patterns there on the top of those clouds. I mean, you're probably further behind that cloud is where the storm that we're watching, but at least some of that rigid area shows that we're not in the complete collapsing phase of this. Usually you get some of those wispy, that wispy makeup there on the top of the storm. Well, I guess the tops of the storm is cloud tops, but the fact that we're not getting that, and the fact that we're primarily looking at more of a rigid pattern, well, that can kind of tell you that we're still seeing a decent thunderstorm. So this is in place until 7:15 this evening, moving out of Marshall County. So for folks back there towards Tasca, Red Banks, Mahon, I think, Victoria. Let's see who else is in this warning. Yeah, Red Banks area, Victoria. You guys are not in the severe weather threat. It's going to be folks that live along Watson, Warsaw, Cooper Road included within that, Woods Road. And if we look over there towards the Warsaw area, we're still about, the latest scan should be coming out. We're not far away from it. Yeah, there we go. There's the latest one. So some of those largest hailstones falling about Highway 309, Canal Ridge Road, and that's going to be for folks around the Warsaw community, and of course Ingram's Mill, going to be getting that here shortly. Let's do one last 3D take of this, 3D swath of this storm, and as I do that here real quick, we can expand it out just a bit. I know it's kind of hard to see. Move it through the area. Yeah, we're still reaching about 30,000 feet. So I would say we're still in the mature part of the storm. I'm going to take a step behind the scenes here real quick, but just bear with me one moment. I want to make sure that I'm not missing anything in chat right now for folks that are in that area that have any questions or need to know anything. Yeah, be safe, exactly. Yeah, just be safe. And the best way to be safe is to not go out in it. And I know that's hard for folks because we always see storms and it's like, ooh, I want to go see, what does it look like? What is it producing? Don't do that. And that's the best way to stay safe in any circumstance, especially whenever there's hailstones falling and you don't want to get out in your vehicle. If you're in Cockram, Lewisburg, Ingram's Mill, anything like that, if you get in your vehicle to go chase hail, trust me, you're not going to be on the right side of that equation. You're definitely going to be ending with some dents in your vehicle, and it's just not worth it, especially not for hail. I mean, not for any weather at that matter. I want to point that out, but you know, you don't want to get in the middle of a hailstorm. It can definitely be dangerous. I know we had that report from Dalton over there in Holly Springs. I mean, Holly Springs back there on the south end of Holly Springs. He was telling me that he couldn't even get out of his car because it was such a heavy downpour, and those hailstones, although tiny, although only about a nickel size, probably that big, I mean, they can hurt, and you don't want to be out in the middle of that. So make sure to stay safe in this process. Now, we can do one more thing here real quick. And what I want to assess is why this happened. You know, why did this take place? Well, you might notice that we have what you'd call an outflow boundary from a collapsing thunderstorm over there towards the north side around Tennessee. Now, when that happened and it collapsed, it had this outflow boundary that developed. And you can see that line kind of right there towards Collierville, Byhalia, Lakeland, and watch how that interacts with the heart of this storm and starts to build it more towards the northeast. You see right there, right along that leading edge of the outflow boundary, right around Byhalia, actually. So as that took place, that's why we got some more of that development there towards Victoria, there towards Byhalia, towards Warsaw, and still you can see some of that development, that outflow boundary right there. right into the storm. And so as you have that on the leading edge, this is of course going to be a mature thunderstorm, but let's take this off and go to the latest scan. So I'm going to jump it a few minutes, and what do you notice? The outflow boundary is a little bit out ahead. So what do we expect? Well, a little bit of a collapsing phase is honestly not going to surprise me here in the next few minutes, because that outflow boundary is moving a little bit faster than that storm, and that's where the energy was coming from. And so although we're still seeing some decent sized hail towards Ingram's Mill, I'm hopeful that this is at least the collapsing part of the storm, and this is where we peak before everything starts to diminish. So we're fingers crossed on that. But definitely keeping an eye on it here in the next few minutes as that warning is set to expire around 7:15. So who is good to go? Well, Byhalia, it's now past you. Victoria, Warsaw, it's just a little bit towards the west. Give it a few more minutes before you guys are in the clear. Red Banks, Mahon, Tasca, anywhere along those areas, you guys are good to go. Mariana, I know I've been mentioning your name a lot. Trust me, you guys are not going to be in the hail core of this storm, but you might see what I'm looking at, and it's back behind this storm that we're definitely seeing something start to increase just a bit towards the Holly Springs area once again. Let's watch over the past few scans how this is kind of developed. It's back building on the backside of this thunderstorm and has now become its own independent thunderstorm, and it's decent at that with some decent outputs. If we take a 3D cross section of this, I would not be surprised if this is one we need to keep an eye on as well for some more possible small hail. So this is only about 10,000 feet right there on the leading edge. Let me try to get to the heart. I mean, we're reaching 20,000 feet. And let me go back a few scans. So yeah, that was where it was kind of maturing right there. It was getting up to 20,000 feet, still sitting at about 20,000 feet right now. So keeping an eye on that storm, because that is definitely still some decent numbers out of the storm. And so if we keep seeing those over the next few minutes, wouldn't be surprised to see a warning or something issued on that. But how much energy does it have? Again, it doesn't have an outflow boundary that it's following. This is back building off of an already mature thunderstorm. And speaking of, if we do a cross section on this one, I know I said one more thing. I've been saying one more thing a lot, but there's just so much to take from this storm, and we've been so quiet and not having active weather that it's just been it's a time to just re-educate on what to look for with these storms. So let's take it to about right there, and I would say that is the heart. Let me get it right there. That's the heart of the storm right there. What do you notice? A little bit lower than where it was before. Not 30,000 feet. We're talking about maybe 25 and 22,000 feet, somewhere within that range. So that already shows me that this is starting to collapse just a bit. So hopefully that continues to remain the trend heading into the rest of our evening, and we see this start to diminish just a bit. I mean, that outflow boundary well out ahead of the storm. We're talking all the way around the Lurline area. I'm trying to learn names over there. This is our first time covering it, and so I'm trying to get familiar a little bit with Northwest Mississippi a bit more, just outside of Olive Branch. So that whole line right there, towards Bright, Alfaba, Lurline, Bet, way out away from where we were talking about Stonewall, Ingram's Mill. So I expect this to diminish just a bit. So not overly concerning, not like what it once was, but if you do have any of your Weather Watcher reports, go ahead and submit those, and we'll forward all of that to the National Weather Service so they can better assess these warnings going forward in the future. But I think they did a good job on issuing this warning to let folks know some decent sized hail would be produced. And so that's what we're going to keep paying attention to. So make sure to keep up with Mississippi Live Weather. For the latest, we are, of course, always behind the scenes tracking these storms. And if we feel like we need to cut in, or if it's anything that's going to be threatening to your afternoon, well, we will, of course, let you guys know. So thank you guys so much for watching. And, of course, we'll see you back here tonight at 10, unless weather permits and we have to come back on. So stay tuned here for the latest and have a great evening. Oh, is it not connected to anything? I might have taken it off. I most definitely did. Well, while we're over here, I can... We need rain badly, 50 miles north of Tupelo. We seem to be okay now. Yes, that is going to be northwest of Tupelo by a good margin. We're not expecting that over here. We take some rainfall, right? But yeah, no severe weather. So we'll keep eyes on this behind the scenes. And of course, you guys stay weather aware as well. We'll keep you updated with the very latest, and we'll see you back here tonight at 10 unless weather permits. Oh, and you can, of course, get the free app to track these storms in our next
For more than 100 years, First Choice Bank has provided dedicated community banking to North Mississippi. The banking products and services you need when you need them. At First Choice, you're our priority. Make First Choice your choice for banking.
I don't remember how it started.
Go to that.
Our back and forth. It always came back. Dad! You probably don't remember what you told me,
That was perfect.
but I heard every word.
Even though Gabe grew up in Alabama, Mississippi has now become his home and his family. And one thing about Gabe is he keeps his family safe.